Hello there, Leos. Thank you so much for stopping by to hang out with me for your monthly in-depth tarot forecasts. We are going to break this month down into 4 time frames. The first 3 are going to be regular weeks, and then the last time frame is going to be 9 days. I just think it gives us more information if we actually look at the flow of energy as we move through the month rather than just looking at an overview for all 30 days at once. I just think that things change more quickly than that, and so it's good to have a little bit more of an in-depth peek at the energies in that. So that's why we're doing this. For those of you who your sun sign is Leo, welcome. You may find that your sun sign isn't working so much for you, so you may want to check your rising sign or your moon sign as well. So this is going to be for Leo sun sign primarily, but rising sign and moon sign, this may give you more information into how things are shaping up in your life. So all are welcome to watch. La da 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 da. Okay, Leo, let's start off by taking a look at your environment. Now, your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So, for you Leos, it does look like you are carrying a lot of the responsibility in your environment in this time frame from the 1st to the 7th of November. It looks to me also like you have chosen to take on these responsibilities, and I think that you are doing this because you love the environment that you're in, and so to you it's worth it to take on these responsibilities in the environment. Next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your subconscious leanings, Leos. It looks to me like you really want to find some alone time where you can stop and think things over, figure out what your priorities are and what makes you tick. And I think that you can definitely see the benefit of being able to do that. But what has you stressed out here is the idea of finding the time to just draw back from everything that's going on in your life, to take that time to just sort of recluse for a little bit and think things over. So your subconscious mind is working up on, where do I find time to do that? How do I make that happen? Because it looks to me like the stress level is just getting a little bit too high right now. And so you're thinking it's time to do something about this, but I need some alone time so I can figure out what I want to do about it. Okay, Leos, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about your learning style first and then your communication style. So looking at learning style, what do we have? I do think that you're doing a lot of listening during this time frame. You may be actively listening in conversations. You may be listening to see what you can overhear, looking for information where you're not necessarily a part of the conversation, okay? So listening is one way of learning right now, paying attention to what's being said around you. And also a part of listening is paying attention to the body language of the people around you as well. So I'm seeing that come up here also. I'm going to adjust this camera. It seems a little high right now. I must be slouching. I'm actually leaning on my legs as I talk to you, just like we're buddies. Let's see. As if I could see you and we're buddies, just hanging out. All right, so what else do we have about learning style during this time frame? There's a lot that you're finding out about or that you're learning about that you're finding just because you're really curious about it. You want to know. So this is more like fun stuff, fun information. useful, don't get me wrong. It's not that it's not useful, but it's also fun for you. This isn't information that you're learning so that you can promote your business or so that you can do a task at work or whatever. It's something that you just are enjoying understanding more about. La da 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 da. I do feel like you are starting to understand some of the emotions of some of the people around you, and that may be coming from that listening that I saw earlier that you're doing. That you're understanding where people are coming from emotionally, what they're actually hoping for, and what they're disappointed about as okay. So that's learning style. Communication style during this time frame. There's actually quite a lot of quiet. I feel like there's somebody in your sphere of influence, maybe even a group of people that you really don't want them to know everything. And so you are giving them some vague answers and vague information, not giving them all the specifics. There are some people in your sphere of influence as well whom you are really shooting it to them straight. Okay, Leos, you may be being very blunt. Some of the words that you're saying may actually cut them as you're saying them, and I think that's holding you back. I think you are just trying to be as truthful as you can possibly be in this situation. I don't feel like you're coming at it in a mean way. I also don't feel like it necessarily bothers you greatly that something you said might hurt this person or these persons. So I feel like whoever this is somebody who has done some things that have hurt you before too. And so this is, like I said, I don't think you're doing this, you're not setting out to hurt them, but you're also, if it does hurt them, it's more of an attitude of, well, they hurt me too, so I guess now maybe we're even. I don't know. It's more like that type of attitude. Also in communication. I feel like you've got a situation or a person that you talk to where you don't exactly say the truth, but you hint at the truth a whole lot to where most people understand exactly what the truth is, even though you're not coming out and saying it. So that's learning style and communication style for this time frame, Leos. Leos, Leos. Next we're looking at work for you guys. Wow, I have very strong indicators about working independently, possibly even working for yourself. Entrepreneurial spirit, very creative, self-sufficient. This looks to me like you are definitely doing some kind of work that's for yourself, whether it's on the side from a 40-hour job or on the side from a full-time business that you already have. Well, if this is this would still be you. But either way, I mean, I just really see you as doing work for yourself. Here is coming up really strongly. So for a lot of you Leos, this may be your primary source of work. This may be where, this may be your income, your living, is that you have your own business or your own company or your own service that you offer to people. For others of you, this is going to be something that you're doing on the side. And this is going to be something that you're doing not with a partner. Okay, Leos? Let's look at inner work. You've done a lot of self-confidence going on here for sure during this time frame. It looks to me like the inner work might be the idea of being open to the idea of partnering up with somebody to do something. Doesn't have to be a romantic partnership, could be like business partnership, but being open to that idea of partnering up with somebody is really the inner work here. This is not saying rush out and get together with somebody or rush out and sign a contract to be a partner with somebody on a project. This is just saying the inner work is about being open to the idea, okay? Not being resistant to the idea, not thinking, you don't want to stay in a rut where you're thinking, well, I'm the only one who can do things right, so I don't have partners. We don't want to go into that kind of thinking. Okay, so you just want to be open to the idea of working together with other people and collaborating. All right. Next thing that we're looking at here talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded in a particular time frame. What do we have here? I feel like there's somebody who has, I think maybe swindled is a strong word, but I think that they have talked you out of your money. And I think that that's gone. Now, that can be, somebody who calls up on the telephone and talks you into signing over your 401k. I'm sure they have a good reason. They always do, right? This could be, somebody who's related to you who says, hey, I found this great investment. I need you to put your money in on it too so that I can do this. There's a lot of different ways that this can manifest, but I do feel like somebody is taking your money. To put it simply, they're taking your money. I don't think that they have the best of intentions. And I also think that once you turn loose of that money, it's gone. Okay? And I think it's going to really, if you hadn't seen this reading especially, it would really surprise you who that might be. All right. By the way, if we need to have a reading to see who that might be in your particular life for you, that would be a private reading type of question. That's not going to be a general reading because there's too many people watching to give a nice accurate response to that. So the next thing that I'm looking at are those things that you stand for during this time frame, Leos. Interesting. It looks like you really have had mixed feelings about somebody or something in your life, and you finally had to make a decision what you were going to do about that. I think that you got really tired of going back and forth with your feelings, and you just wanted to make a decision and just stick with it instead of all the ups and downs and the ins and the outs. Now, I think that somebody has asked you about this decision. They've questioned you on it. Why did you decide that way? Or why are you making that decision now? Or whatever it is they're asking, who knows? And so as they're doing that, the impression of you that they come away with is that you are picking up the pieces. And not only for you, I get the impression that you're tidying things up and tying up loose ends, not only for yourself in this situation, but also for somebody else, that they're not tying up their share of the loose ends or their part of the loose ends. You're having to take care of that for them. They feel like you're somebody who also can give really good advice about how to get through things like this. And you may even be sort of telling other people how to clean up those types of loose ends. And also they see you as somebody who has walked away from this situation, which I think you have. I think your decision was, I don't like all the ups and downs. I'm just going to be out. I'm not going to be a part of this anymore. And so that's why you're picking up loose ends and cleaning everything up. You may even be, whoever you're getting out of this situation with, you are probably even cleaning up loose ends for them because they're just not, they're putting out that energy or that effort to do that. All right. Next thing that we have coming up talks to me about your flex time. This is the time when things start to go in a different direction for you during this particular time frame. Looks to me like you have some type of situation with money or finances that it's not coming in as quickly as you're expecting it to. And I think even when you're like following up and trying to sort of rattle the cage to get people to pay you like they're supposed to be paying you, I don't see it doing a lot to make anything go really faster. Now, it may be doing a lot to make sure that they actually pay you what they didn't pay you on time, but I don't see it really coming to you more quickly even with that. I would not say Not to rattle their cages, though. That's definitely not the advice here. Also going on at the same time, I feel like we do have this card that talks about somebody paying you back. I don't feel like it's these same people, though. I think this is somebody else is paying you back for something else. I also get the sense that it may even be a surprise that you weren't expecting. This may be something that you loaned to somebody a long time ago and you had just sort of written it off. I think that while you're happy to see it come in, I don't feel like you're thinking that this is enough money. Like this isn't replacing the slow money that hasn't come in yet. It's helping, but it's not the same amount. Now, also at the same time, there may be some type of friendship or relationship that is in your life that really is coming to an end. And I think that you probably saw the writing on the wall that it was coming to an end. But just because you're seeing the writing on the wall doesn't mean that it's not coming to an end in an unfair way. And I do think it's coming to an end in an unfair way. I think the person who put less energy and effort into this relationship is the one who decided to end it. And to me, that's not fair because you've got somebody putting in a lot more energy and effort. They're much more invested. If anybody's going to call it done, it should be, by rights, that one, not the one who's receiving, the recipient of all that. So to me, when I get this particular card, this tells me that the person who is receiving all the good from the relationship and probably not putting that much in is the person who decided to call the relationship. And that could be tied in with your financial issues too, is that this person was sort of milking you. Didn't we see somebody milking you earlier? This person was sort of milking you, and now whenever you come into tighter finances, well, now they're on to milk the next person, basically, is what I'm seeing. That type of energy could certainly be happening here with everything that we've seen so far and putting that whole picture together. All right, let's look at where you are at the end of this particular time frame, Leos. Where are you? Excuse me. Dust in my throat, I think. All right. So once we get to the end of this particular time frame, it looks like you do have somebody that was spending a lot of time and attention on you or with you that has just sort of disappeared off into the sunset in a very surprising way. I think you're heartbroken about this, and I think that you have a lot of healing to do still with this. I've got a card right now that is indicating to me that this situation is not over, and I'm not sure whether it's applying to the heartbreak situation or if it's saying that if this person shows back up that you would take them back in to your trust again. And I'm sure that we will, if that's the case, I'm sure we'll see that within the next couple of time frames. But for right now, what I'm just seeing is that definitely the heartbreak part is not over. I don't know if you're going to let the cycle keep continuing or not, but you definitely have some healing to do, if nothing else, on that last little bit of that time frame. Okay? I think that's going to be a healing process that takes a while, but that's where we see you. We see you just barely starting that once we get to the 7th of November. Okay? All right, guys, let me go ahead and shut this down, take a little break, and then I'll come back and we'll look at your next time frame. Hello there, Leos. Welcome back. This time we're going to be looking at November 8th through the 14th. Just a reminder, this is for your sun sign and also for those ascendants or moon signs. If maybe your sun sign isn't resonating for you, you kind of want to experiment with that, see what works best for you. But for right now, this is Leo, November 8th through the 14th. Let's see what comes up on the table. All right, cards are on the table, Leo. Let's just see what we've got showing up for your environment. First off, environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. We've got lots of nice things happening here. So it looks like in your environment, you have people who are putting in energy and effort to make it better. You've got some inspired ideas about what you want to do to make that environment better. And it looks to me like you have the financial support to do that as well. So, woo woo, looks like you might be overhauling your environment. Definitely you're doing something that is on the creative and inspired side, excuse me. Mercury is retrograde as I make this. Creative and inspired side. I think it is anyway. La da 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 da. Okay, let's look at your subconscious leanings. What is happening here? You've got some old memories coming up here. It looks like you're making a transition, Leos, from holding on to old memories that drag you down or make you feel depleted, or focusing on other options that are more happiness making for you. So it looks like really in your subconscious, what you're thinking about is what you're thinking about in your conscious mind. And you're working on how do you make that transition from thinking about things from the past that made you feel poor or dragged you down in some way. And instead of thinking about those things, thinking about something that's happiness making, that's going to help you manifest more of what you actually want. And so your subconscious is working on that process. How do we actually do that? Okay. Next thing that we have going on, Leos, talks to me about your learning style and also your communication style during this time frame. So Leos, I think that you may be finding some information about taking money and using it to create more money. So instead of going to work and spending time to make money, using money to create more money. That's what one of your focuses is during this time frame. La da 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 da, la da da da. What else are we looking at for learning? Leos, I'm going to tell you, I think a lot of you are learning about addiction and the impact that it has on some of the people that you love. And I think that you are definitely learning new things here. And I don't think it's by talking to the person that you love that's addicted or anything like that. I think I don't feel like it's in a class per se, but definitely you have some new information that's being presented to you, and I think that you're finding it very eye-opening. What else do we have? La da 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 da. There is something that comes to me about this idea of comfort. And so I think you may be finding information about something that will bring you comfort. Maybe you're researching, maybe you're getting ready to buy a bed or a couch or some other wonderful furniture that would make you feel comfortable. But there's definitely something about comfort here and about yeah, comfort's just the key word. So you're learning about something that makes you feel more comfortable. Okay. I do have to say, I think this also may tie in with health too. Not necessarily things that we can surround ourselves with to be comfortable, but maybe things that we can do to make our own bodies more comfortable. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's look at communication style during this time frame. I do think that you're definitely letting some people know how you feel emotionally about something going on in your sphere of influence. I don't think you're really exactly too happy or super thrilled. I'm not really picking up on anger or heavy-duty frustration either, but definitely this is south of average as to how you're feeling. And I think you're letting somebody know how you feel so that there can be a course correction here, basically. There's also communication about money. Of course, we saw that you're learning how to take your money and make more money. So there's communication coming up about money as well. And there's also, I think there's going to be a little bit of a spilling of feelings. And when I feel like there's a spilling of feelings, this could be like tears spilling out of your eyes. There's going to be some kind of communication that I think is going to make you show emotion in a stronger way than what you would normally right now, Leo. Let's look next at work style, or work, I guess I should say, during this time frame. La da 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 da. What is going on here? I like what I see on one hand. I'm not too much happy on the other hand. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the good news first. The good news is something that was making you sad or upset or anxious or worried at work is turning around and going in a good direction now. What I'm not so thrilled with is the people that you're working with. It looks like you've got one character that you're working with that can be very sarcastic and cutting and just really harsh with her words, and it's probably a female for most of you, or it's going to be more of a less assertive male. And you also have somebody in your sphere of influence at work too who just makes rash decisions. Youth is not on their side. It would help them if they had a little bit more experience. They could make some better decisions, but they haven't had. And so they're making some decisions that I think everybody is kind of having to adjust to or work with because they aren't exactly the best decisions. All right, so those are the two people you're working with. Whatever is going on here, though, the overall picture with work is that things are getting better, because where you were feeling sad and maybe scared or anxious, that is going away. Okay, so yeah, you're working with a couple of nasty characters, but work seems to be restabilizing is what I'm going to say there for you, Leos, in spite of that. Let's look at that part of your personality, which is growing or expanding right now. So Leos, it looks to me like you have dealt with some kind of obsession or some kind of addiction, maybe even a toxic relationship, and you have put an end to that cycle. And it looks to me like for a lot of you, Leos, well, for some of you this is going to be a new thing, but for a lot of you this is going to be like an anniversary of doing that. So like if you go to AA, it might be, it might be during this time frame that you get the birthday cake for how you've been in AA actively participating, or NA, or any of those others. But I do feel like this is saying that there is some kind of celebration over the fact that you've put that obsession or that addiction behind you. And like I said, I do feel like this is something that for a lot of you, you didn't just do this recently. Now for some of you, yes, but for a lot of you, you're celebrating an anniversary of doing it. All right, next thing, let's look at those things that you stand for. So this is going to be something that has happened, or a choice that you have made, or something along those lines that somebody's going to be sort of talking to you about or confronting you about, something along those lines. So You had a lot of clarity come into you on a situation, Leo. And as soon as you had that clarity, you went from feeling sorry for yourself about a situation to being able to really focus on the opportunities that are in front of you and sort of shrugging that old situation off. And I really feel like that clarity that came in was about, well, no, I'm not going to say that. What I will say is that where before you had this clarity, your energy was kind of scattered because you were focused on this situation where you were feeling sad for yourself. And now that you have the clarity, there is something about that, you know, the truth shall set you free, always true. And so having that clarity, having that understanding around that situation now has really put you into a space where your energy isn't so scattered. Now you can focus on the things that you really want to focus on because you don't have this little thing niggling and distracting you from the side about the past, like what really happened there. Now you know. Now you can put it behind you and start focusing on other opportunities in a more concise way than what you have been able to. So somebody has said something to you about the change that you've made, and you've had to, you know, explain it to them or defend it. Now, how does that other person see you? Okay, so they're seeing you as somebody who has actually seen the truth. They see you as somebody who was not able to manifest what you wanted out of that situation where you've now seen the truth. And they're seeing you as somebody that is not going back to that old situation anymore now that the truth has come out. Like that's kind of put the last nail in the coffin on that situation, is how they're viewing you. La da 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 da. Next thing that we're going to look at is your flex period. This is going to be the period where things start to change direction for you a little bit during this time frame. Flexi, flexi, what do we have? All right. I feel like there's somebody that, where do I want to start? Let's start from here. I feel like there is some kind of collaboration that you're involved in that you are having to defend because there's somebody around you who does not like the idea that you're involved in this collaboration with this other person or with this other group of people. I think they feel threatened by the idea that you're collaborating with this other person or with this group of people. And so you're having to stand your ground and say, you know what, this is something that I need to do. And you're going to have to get over it, I guess. All right. So at the same time that this is happening, there is something going on where you have a choice to make. And this choice has to do with something personal, some type of relationship. Excuse me. So it has to do with some type of relationship in your personal life. Can be romantic, can be a friendship, can be a family relationship. And I think that what's going on is there is an attraction between you and this other person, a certain amount of compatibility there. But I also feel like you feel that you can't move forward with that situation. Like you can't take any steps forward. You can't take it any further than where it is now, and that's the decision that you're making right now. Also, during this same time frame, there is something going on where you're putting down some kind of responsibilities that you did carry before, and as you put these down, first of all, I'm going to say I don't think you're putting them down forever, just for now. But as you're putting these down, this is really decreasing your stress level in your life to be able to walk away from these responsibilities for a little bit. Your stress level is really, really coming down. You're feeling much more calm as you do this. Okay? All right, so let's see where you guys are at the end of this time frame. You've got somebody in your sphere of influence who normally is very logical, very intelligent, but I'm just going to say, because this is the word Spirit is nudging me with, is they're a liar. They are a liar. And I get the sense too that they are a bold-faced liar. Like, they don't stutter. Excuse me, I don't know what's even in my throat here. They don't stutter when they lie. They can look you right in the eye when they lie. I mean, they have it down pat. Okay? And so this is somebody who is in your sphere of influence. And I think that you are starting to lose patience with this person. And you're starting to lose patience with the idea that they can just lie like it's nothing. And it makes it really hard to be able to tell when they're actually lying. And so there's a lot of confusion here. I think you're really confused about what is actually happening with this person, because you already know how easy it is for them to lie. So you know you can't trust anything that they're saying. And I think that's what's causing the confusion, is you can't trust what they're saying. But you can't prove that it's wrong either, at least not yet, is what I'm hearing. And so you're really impatient with this situation. You're impatient with not knowing which way to go with this situation. And so that's where we see you at the end of this time frame. So we're going to take a break again, and then I'll come back in a little while, and we will look at the 3rd week of November. Thank you guys for being here. See you soon. Welcome back, Leos. We are looking this time at November 15 through the 21st to see what kind of energies come up for you this time around. And this is for Leo sun sign, rising sign, or moon sign. If you find that your sun sign doesn't resonate, then you may want to check your moon sign or your rising sign or your ascendant. La da 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 da. Some people actually check all 3 of those just to get a more full picture of what's going on. You may want to try that too. I always say we should experiment with that. I think it works differently for different people, just because we all have different planets are all in different positions on our charts. So like for me, my sun sign and my Venus sign are the same. So if I watch my sun sign, I might be seeing my love life, or I might be seeing just my regular general life. For a long time, I had to watch my rising sign to see my career life. Now it looks like my rising is talking about my love life. I don't understand it. But that's what's happening. So that's why I say we should all experiment. I don't think it stays the same for any of us. And so it's worth experimenting with. All right, the first thing that we are looking at for you, Leos, is your environment. Tell you the truth, I'm not really thrilled about your environment right now. It looks like you may have some type of water issues there. And these water issues may, for some of you, have you actually leaving your environment during this time frame from the 15th to the 21st. Now, water issues could also be something to do with snow too, because that's going to be in the winter time in the northern hemisphere. But it could just be that some of you get leaky pipes or a broken pipe or something like that. I don't think that all of you will have to leave your environments because of this, but some of you I think actually will. All right, next thing that we want to look at talks to me about you guys' subconscious leanings during this time frame, Leo. Subconscious leanings. There's definitely somebody on your mind, and this is going to be somebody who is probably male or else a very assertive female. And this is someone who is very cheerful, outgoing, generally they're very optimistic, They're go-getter type people. They really, once they get something in their head that they want to accomplish, nothing really stops them because of that positive mindset. And it looks to me like this is somebody that you've had some kind of falling out with. And it looks to me like yet there is some healing for that relationship, for that falling out. And you guys, well, at least in your subconscious. So your subconscious is working on bringing healing or bringing relief to that relationship where there was a falling out, and coming back into relationship with that person, whether it's romantic or a friendship or family. It feels like for most of you, we're talking about a friendship here, that your subconscious is really working on, how can I bring healing to this relationship and get it back on track again? Okay? Most of you, it's friendship. All right, let's look at learning style and also communication style. I think you're getting some information right now that whenever it comes in, it's coming in a very confusing way. And so for that information, yeah, it's not doing you a whole lot of good actually coming in like that. As a matter of fact, I think as we get later into this time frame and it continues to be confusing, I think that you start to get really angry that somebody can't give you a straight answer here. You really are searching for the truth, and you're like, I feel like you are in a position where you feel like you want the truth at any cost, no matter what it is. It's better for you to know the truth. And so I feel like you're really, this is really a frustrating situation for you, and I think you're really getting more than frustrated. I think you're getting angry that there doesn't seem to be a straight answer coming from anybody for you on this. As far as your communication style, I do feel like you are stirring things up. And this may be about this information that you're having a hard time getting a hold of. You're stirring things up. You're rattling cages. You are just trying to get things moving so that you can get a hold of the information that you need. I think you're being very direct in your communication. You may be communicating in some way, whether it's written or whether it's verbal, with somebody who is in charge or some type of leadership position. Because of the confusion that's coming out of there, I do feel that kind of communication coming up. Ultimately, though, I see you really just making your own decision based on what feels the best to you, because you're not getting the information. So you have to, I think that you come to a point where you have to move forward without that information. And I think you are communicating that to somebody as you're making this decision. You're letting them know, well, if you are not going to give me this information, I have to move forward to the best of my ability. And so I'm going to be making a choice. You may even be telling them what that choice is going to be, which is definitely giving them a lot more information than they gave you. Now, next thing that I'm looking at has to do with work. I think you're feeling, why do we have contradictory energy here? So work feels very comfortable to you. I think there's something to celebrate at work. There's something that your group at work has done that is worth celebrating. And I think that that is inspiring. I think you may have a younger boss or a younger supervisor, and I think that that's inspiring them to go to new heights on this. And I think that your perception is that this person is a little bit naive about how that can happen. And so I don't think you're very hopeful about the goals or the targets that this younger person who's in charge is actually setting at work. Now let's look at your inner work. I think your inner work right now is to really focus on the things that are around you that are worth celebrating. I think it's really easy to kind of get stuck looking at the things that aren't going right instead of the things that are. And so your inner work is really focusing on the good for right now. Right now being time frame listed in the corner. All right. once I step into these spreads and start feeling around in them, guys, to me, they are the now. Okay, so if I say stuff like that and I don't clarify, well, I just want you to know that when I say right now or maybe a little later in the time frame, then, you know, I am looking at a position in time where I am in that time frame, forecasting out or forecasting now, as in now being in that time frame. Okay, I think you get the picture. Let's move on, shall we? Next thing we're looking at is that part of your personality which can be grown which is growing or expanding right now. I think you have this ongoing thing where you are holding back some information from somebody who is younger, who is continuously asking you questions. And it comes across to me that, number one, this has been going on for a while, and number two, this will continue on after this time frame. And I feel like you're holding back some information because you don't feel like the full answer to every question they're asking is necessarily appropriate for somebody so young. Okay? So you're holding back information on them. I think that, you know, you're answering their questions, but you're answering them in a way that is not exactly complete. And I think that there may be a little bit of a conflict with inside yourself during this time frame about, okay, what's appropriate to say and what's not appropriate to say. Okay? This could very much be something like, you know, a little kid wanting to know about mom and dad's relationship, and maybe mom and dad are talking about a divorce. You may not feel comfortable sharing that information. This could also be something like you've got a little kid that's going through sex ed class, and now they have all these questions, and you may be feeling like, well, maybe I'm not the person to ask questions. Maybe you're not the parent. Or that you could be feeling like, well, how much is actually appropriate to tell you at this point in your life? So anyway, something's going on where there's a young person who's asking you questions, and you're really, you're just, and it's not a new situation, and you're holding back because the full answers don't seem appropriate for whatever reason. Okay? Now, let's look next at something that you're standing for, Leos. Looks like you have paid somebody back or paid something off, and you're just really trying to get your stuff together, basically. And I think it looks to me like you're coming from a place that, you know, it's been difficult to try to get your stuff together. I think that even though you've paid this person or paid this thing off, there's still more work that needs to be done. And I think that you are, I think you were probably expecting a little bit more of a celebratory feeling when you paid this thing or this person off. Came out of it, especially considering you still have more to go, and so you kind of could have used a little boost of encouragement there. That boost of encouragement, I really don't see it coming in. I see you just really kind of feeling sorry for yourself that you're not hearing that, oh yeah, good boy, you know, good job, good girl type of thing. So, you know, you want to try to avoid that type of energy, because we all know that's not productive energy for us. And it's also important not to judge ourselves on how other people judge us. So if somebody else doesn't give us an attaboy, it shouldn't impact us. We shouldn't let it impact us to the point that we go into this deep funk about it. Because we should be proud enough of us that it doesn't really matter what somebody else says. Okay? So anyway, that's just a little extra psychic advice. Take it or leave it. Alright? So this is something that somebody has talked to you about, maybe confronted you about. You've basically had to talk about this or defend this. I think that you're having to defend this mood, wondering how come you're feeling really down when you just did this magnificent thing, and you're having to say, well, nobody else noticed. Okay? Now, how this other person sees you. They are seeing you as somebody who is fighting a good fight, that you're doing something that is worthwhile, even if it takes some time. And they are feeling like as you are doing this, you have your energy scattered in a bunch of different directions. And so I think they feel like at some point you'll be able to quit scattering your energy and focus a little bit more. But for right now, this is the way it is. And they feel like, I think they feel like you're having a hard time seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, even though they see the light at the end of the tunnel for you. They feel like you're kind of having a hard time seeing the light at the end of the tunnel here. You know, you're in this process and it's not over yet. They're getting the big picture because they're outside the situation. All right, next thing that we're looking at talks to me about what's going on during the flex point in this time frame, Leos. What do we have? I really think that work is going to be slowing down for you during this time frame. And when work slows down for you, I don't think you're going to be very happy about this. This may be a situation where you have to do something on the side and wait until work actually picks up again at your regular gig. Or this could be a side thing that really slows down, so you've got to get a new side thing. But there's something going on where you have to take action because it's slowing down that much. At the same time that this is going on, I do see you spending some money to manifest something that you want, and it is something that you can celebrate. So you may be spending money on a vacation, or you may be spending money even on classes. With that celebration card there is what makes me think maybe the money is going on vacation. But you've also got a manifestation card here, which makes me wonder if it's not more about classes or skills or something about how to do something that makes you really happy to have that information once you've got that class under your belt, that class or seminar or whatever it may be. Also at the same time, what do we have? Excuse me. You have a choice to make. And your choice is, do I hang around and see what's going to happen next and hope for the best? Or do I put something to an end and just move forward and just know that that's done and that's in the past? And so you're going to be making this choice during this time while you're dealing with the idea about work being really slowed down, and while you're dealing with the idea, I think more likely the idea of increasing your skills, spending money to increase your skills. You're going to have to make a decision during that time frame about if you're going fully forward or if you are really burning a bridge, actually. Where do we see you at the end of this time frame? You're very focused on something here, and part of that has to do with this idea that you're not feeling like people are very nice in general right now, and so you're not feeling real energized about the idea of having a relationship. You're more focused on the idea of following your own dreams at this point. You want to manifest those things that are important to you without the interference of somebody else's needs. Obviously, that's not going to apply for all of you, but that's what I have coming up here. So I think it's going to apply for quite a few of you. Okay. All right, so there is that. Let me go ahead and take another break. When I come back, we'll hit the last time frame in November, and then we'll wrap it up. Thanks for being here. All right, Leos, we are back. This is for the last time frame for November. This is actually going to be a 9-day spread here, so we're looking at November the 22nd through the 30th. Seeing what energies come up for y'all this time, Leos. Let's take a peek, shall we? Alrighty, cards are on the table. Let's see what shows up for you. I feel like my camera is too high again. Let's take care of that. Something just slipped I wasn't expecting. Okay, I think we're good. Alright, so we're going to look at environment for you, Leo. Oh, wow, it looks like maybe you're traveling. Maybe you're going on vacation. It does look like you're going away from your normal environment. La da da da. And maybe even with the family or with other people or tribe. I think you guys are traveling. Maybe you're even moving house. But definitely traveling during this time frame from November 22nd to the 30th through the 30th. It's just leanings of what's going on here. You have a situation that you're trying to manifest. You're trying to create something in your life. And it looks to me like you're really frustrated that it hasn't happened so far. And you're looking with your subconscious, you're looking at, okay, how can we change that? I know that we can. And you're finding that solution there with your subconscious during that time frame. La da 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 da. La da da da. Okay, Leos, next we are looking at communication style and learning style during this time frame. We are going to start with learning style. So, I think you're either forgiving somebody or you're asking them to forgive you. And during this process, I think you're learning some information that you weren't aware of before that helps bring peace to that situation. There is a lot that's still a little hazy during this time frame. So here's what I want to say. I think you're recognizing that some of the answers that you are receiving or some of the information that's coming to you during this time frame is a little bit hazy, a little bit shaky, a little bit questionable. You may be just getting surface answers. There may be things going on behind the scenes. And I think you're aware that you don't really have all the information that you wish you had right here. What I want to caution you about is with this information being kind of iffy, that's what I want to call it, kind of iffy. I wouldn't make any big decisions based on this information right now. Okay? This is, I don't know where Neptune is in your chart right now, but this is making me think of Neptune and how Neptune can, Neptune is associated with spirituality, but also associated with mystery and with illusions. And so I just feel like there's some illusions going on here, and maybe not even something that anybody is trying to perpetrate, but still some kind of illusions happening here. And so you want to be really careful about decisions that you make, especially when you're feeling like things are probably not exactly what they look like. And I have the very strong nudge here that you're going to be very aware that things aren't probably what they look like, although even though you're not going to be totally aware of what they really are, not just yet. Okay? And the other thing that I have coming up as far as learning style really is listening, paying attention to what people are saying, paying attention to body language. I think you guys got that last time too. Well, it's coming up pretty strong again here. Now, communication style. I think you have some kind of renewed communication with somebody that you hadn't been communicating with for a while. I do see communication coming back out on the board here. I also feel like there is confusion in the communications that you're sending out, and maybe even the communications that you're receiving. There's still some illusion So it may be that, you know, if you're learning something that you're just learning the surface, you're not learning the full big picture, and so you have this certain idea of how things are, and it's really kind of an illusion. As you're talking, you may be passing that illusion on to other people because you don't have the big picture yet. So once again, another reminder, be very clear about when somebody is telling you clear, specific details and when somebody is giving you more of a hazy overall big picture. Okay? And the last thing I have about your communication style during this time is that you're very direct and to the point with most people that you communicate with, and you stand your ground on your opinions. So if somebody challenges your opinion and tries to get you to change your mind, that's not going to be the easiest thing to do because you've really thought out some of the things that you're putting out there that you're talking about already. Okay? Next thing we're going to look at is work. Okay, so work for Leos from the 22nd through the 30th. This is really interesting, Leos. You've got two people showing up in your sphere of influence. For most of you, these two people are going to be guys, although they could possibly be females with more assertive personalities. And I think you're deciding to keep your distance from these people as much as possible. You're interacting with them at a minimum. One of these people, yeah, what's coming to me is you don't want to be caught in the middle of any kind of situation. So you've got one of these people that's a little younger that tends to make rash decisions. I think we may have seen him last time around too. But anyway, somebody who tends to make rash decisions. They're not that experienced yet, and so they do some things that I don't know if I can even say that not being experienced is an excuse for some of the things that they do. For some of you. But anyway, they do some kind of harebrained things, okay? Let's just say that. And the other person that I'm seeing in your sphere of influence when it comes to work is somebody who this person really triggers and makes very angry by doing these silly things that they do. Silly, not smart things that they do. And so you're sharing the workplace with these two people. Oh my gosh, you guys were sharing the workplace with two people last time that weren't very cool either. Anyway, it looks to me like you're kind of putting up your boundaries. You do not want to be caught in the middle of this. So when this person comes to you to complain about the younger person, you're like, you know what? That's not anything that I need to hear about. That's something that you guys need to work out on your own. Same thing when the younger guy comes to you and says, oh my gosh, can you believe this old guy? Oh, you're going to be saying, you know what? That's not my thing. That's a discussion to have with him, not me. And you're just going to be maintaining those boundaries because you don't want to be caught in the middle here. You absolutely do not want to be caught in the crossfire. All right. Next thing that we're looking at is that part of your personality which is growing or expanding right now, Leos. What do we have? Okay, so you may have actually taken some time, spent some money, put out some energy to sort of recluse and get away from people. Get yourself some time to think things over and get regrounded for yourself. I don't think that this was cheap. I think this actually cost you some. Maybe what it cost you was pay from work. Maybe you went to a super nice place and that cost money. Either way. And now what we have going on, I feel like now that you're back, and part of the reason that you left too, I think this is just kind of how things are. There's somebody in your sphere of influence who's been trying to pick a fight with you, trying to pick fights with you, and they're still doing it even when you come back. Like you go away from the stress to get grounded, to kind of set your priorities, figure out where you want to go from here. And you come back and here's this person just like before you left. They obviously haven't done any kind of work. They're still trying to pick fights, you know. So where you're growing and expanding is in this idea of now you're coming back, you have this new perspective, and here's this old problem. How are you going to deal with this old problem in a new way, in a new, more healthy way than what you were before? Okay? Now, la, da, da, da. Let's look at something that you stand for. This is going to be something that somebody has, that has happened, that somebody's going to be talking to you about, discussing with you, maybe even questioning or confronting you about. Just it kind of depends. La da 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 da. Oh, look at that. This is definitely in personal life. We are not talking about work life here. Let's just put that disclosure out here right now. A lot of times I'll tell you guys, this could be, I'm talking about a relationship, and this could be a romantic relationship, a friendship, a family member, a work relationship, blah, 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 blah. No, we're talking about a romantic relationship here, or at least in a romantic encounter, okay? So what we have going on is that you have a situation where you're falling in love with somebody, and it is not just one-sided. There's another side to this. And this is somebody who you know. This is not a new person. This is somebody who's been around a while. This could actually, even if you're coupled up, this could literally be talking about falling in love again with the person that you're coupled up with. Okay? This can also, if you're not with somebody right now, this can talk about somebody from the past coming back and you having those feelings for them whenever they come back. I think for some of you it's going to be kind of surprising, but not for all of you, that you have these feelings. So somebody is saying something to you about this renewed love, and you're having to, defend yourself. Well, just because I haven't seen them in a while doesn't mean I don't care about them, or, just because I've been married to this person for 50 years doesn't mean I can't fall in love with them all over again. I do know a few people that have been married 50 years. I hear y'all asking that. It happens. Don't cry about it. Alright, so how is this other person seeing you after you have had this conversation about this? They're seeing you actually as somebody who has their self-esteem kind of down, and as somebody who is sort of picking up the pieces after a kind of bad scene, basically, and somebody who is they see you as somebody who's very determined to move forward, even if you're moving forward slowly, but that you want to set a nice solid foundation as you move forward slowly. I think they're a little bit worried with that self-esteem that you may be hitting a rebound type of situation here. I'm not as worried about that. I'm seeing this renewed love as something that's a bit more solid, just because they've been in the picture before, or they've been in the picture for a while, one way or the other. La da la da 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 la da 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 da. Leo's in love. Okay guys, let's look at what's happening during your flex period. This is where things start to take on a little bit of a different shape or a different direction during your time frame. La da da da. Oh, you guys are stalking somebody. Cyber stalking is what I'm hearing for a lot of you. You guys want to know. There's definitely somebody or something that you want to know everything about. I'm not even going to say something. It's a person. You want to know everything about them, and you're impatient to find it all out. And so you are, I'm going to say, Leo, I think you're kind of obsessively cyber stalking them. And if you're not cyber stalking them, you're talking to mutual friends about them. You are picking up information. Alright, next, let's look at what else is going on during this time frame. Oh, you're very self-sufficient, single individual. Self-sufficient, a lot of independence. Yeah, I think you're coming off of something that's been kind of rough too for you. And I think that you're seeing this what's happening here? Yeah. I think you've come off of something that's been difficult too. Maybe you've been going through a difficult divorce, or you had a tough breakup. I think that you are out of pity party mode. We all kind of hit that for a little while. Let's not kid ourselves. And you're into that point of, okay, well, now I'm looking at the opportunity to be single and self-sufficient and just have fun with my life. Alright, so you're being single and self-sufficient, yet you're obsessively cyber stalking. That seems interesting, Leos. Like an interesting contradiction. All right, what else is going on at the same time? Yeah, there is definitely something that you're moving away from as you're doing your cyber stalking, and it's not the same thing that you're stalking. You're moving away from something that has been a burden that's been weighing you down and holding you back. It's over. It's over, and you're letting it be over. You're moving away from it. And it looks to me like the other person is not too happy that you're moving away. I think they felt like they could sort of keep you on the line, keep you around as a backup for a long time, and I don't think that they expected you to move on. I do have the feeling this other person could have already moved on, but they still expected you to keep waiting for them for just in case. They wanted that backup plan. So as you're moving on and letting this thing go, I don't think they're too happy. You may be getting some backlash on that. I would say that you are. La da 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 da. Not that it's deserved, but I would say that you are. So where do we see you at the end of this particular time frame, Leos? Well, you're showing up right here on your own spread. Yeah, you guys are getting really focused on ending whatever this was that we just saw before. You are really focused on cutting it off and shutting it down. And I think that, Leos, you're kind of unhappy that it's taking this long to cut it off or shut it down. Like you already had said, okay, I'm done. And this person doesn't seem to want to respect that. They keep finding ways to get in contact with you. And you're just, I mean, you don't want to be mean. I really get that you don't want to be mean. But at the same time, you want this other person to quit harassing you because you're feeling harassed by all the attention that they're giving you after you've cut things off. And so you are really focusing on getting that shut down. Okay? So that's what we've got for you, Leos. Thank you so much for being here, hanging out with me, spending some of your precious, precious time with me. I do appreciate it. Thank you also for the thumbs ups and for sharing this video. Both of those do impact the logarithm. So do comments. So thank you for commenting as well. And of course, thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and Reiki sessions. If I don't see you here for a private, then I'll see you guys back on the next video. Peace out.